of nectar instruction. Become a guru and make disciples all over. Just control your senses. So there may be Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama Adhikari gurus. And it may be, if you're thinking, I'm a Kanishta and I want to really make advancement, then the fastest way to make advancement is to take responsibility for others. And then you become an Uttama Adhikari very quickly. So you may be a spiritual master that's a work in progress. You may, through your sadhana, be coming up through the levels of Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, Prema, and you're in the process of doing it. And along the way, to help speed up the process, you take others. If you take too many, it'll slow down the process. And if you don't take any, that'll also slow down the process because you're just being selfish and thinking about yourself. Niyamagraha, you're too ahead of yourself, or you're too lazy and you don't want to go as far as you know you should. So it's really important to understand where you're at and what your next step is you should be taking. And the challenge is it's self-realization. So you can't get inside somebody else's head and realize it for them. You've got to work it out for yourself. Are you an Uttama Adhikari? Are you a Madhyama Adhikari? Or are you a Kanishta? And how are you going to go from Anartha Nivritti to Nishta? How are you going to get free from 75% of your anarthas? If your sadhana's not good, then you're not going to make it. Sa is to bestow and dana is wealth. So to get wealth bestowed upon you, you need like a vessel, an empty vessel. Otherwise, you're not going to get any. So your sadhana is like your empty vessel, and you're waiting to get the highest wealth bestowed upon you. So if there's no sadhana, you're not going to get it. You've missed the boat. So the sadhana, if you want to make advancement, then sadhana has to be very good. Confirmed. Sadhana. So you're giving yourself the opportunity to receive. Shishikona mai po shashikida. Any other questions or comments? Yes, 2 questions, great. How to hold the microphone while asking a question.
How to know if somebody's going astray is the first question.
How to know someone's gone astray?
Yeah.
The first way you know a person's gone astray is they don't look very happy. One time Srila Prabhupada turned around and he said, I order you to be happy. Because the devotee was thinking he needs to be like really serious, grave. Prabhupada said, happy. When Lord Rupa Goswami says utsahan, which is enthusiastic, and it's very hard to be enthusiastic and be unhappy at the same time. So you have to be happy and enthusiastic. Then we know you're okay. A dead man cannot preach. Also, you can find out whether you've gone astray by jumping out onto the street and giving somebody one of Srila Prabhupada's books. That's when you find out how much you've gone astray. Would you like to take this book? It's about being fearless and happy. So it's not gonna. So you find out where you're at by going out. The conditioned soul can act as a mirror, and by how he's reacting to you is indicating where you're at. So if he's not very impressed with your presentation, then you've got to go back and work on yourself. You need to be happier, you need to be zappier, snappier, and happier, and then maybe it'll work. And then you go back out and try again. So that's one way anyway.
Thank you, bro. Second question is, what's the difference between Kunj and Nikunj?
Kunj.
Kunj and Nikunj.
Nikunj. I'm not sure what Ni means, but Kunj is the say. Actually, I was in Radha Damodar, and there was a sannyasi who was staying there. He'd been staying at Radha, and he just sat us down and he was talking with us. And he says, whenever you say, like in the prayers to Shrimati Tulsi Maharani, also they're praying there. Please make me a dasi. Please make me a manjari, one of your beloved maidservants. So as soon as you see Kunj, this is confidential. Interestingly enough, Shiva Amraj has just done volume 2 of Vilap Kusumanjali. And he was signing the books. And he goes to give the book to this. And then he looks at him and he says, how many rounds are you chanting? And he goes, well, I do chant some rounds sometimes. And Shiva Amraj says, you cannot read this book until you're chanting 16 rounds a day, regular. Because Vilap Kusumanjali is is for Madhyama Adhikaris, really. It's very confidential. So, of course, Sri Ramanuja, the way he's written it, he's really protecting us from getting the wrong idea. But still, unless the heart is freed to some degree from lust, it's very difficult to appreciate the pastimes and the confidential things that are taken. That's why they're confidential. That's why nobody gets in the Kunj but the Manjaris. Even the Sakis don't get, because it's very confidential what's going on in there. So you can't just, well, I'm just going to go in the Kunj because I think I'm okay. It just won't happen, So when you're reading this type of literature, then you're getting the opportunity where it should be systematic. First of all, Bhagavad Gita, you understand, but you do Sankirtan, at least for a few years. Get some book points under your belt, and then once you know the Bhagavad Gita, you can look at the Bhagavatam, and then you can go into the Caitanya Caritamrta, and then you can think about the Kunj, maybe not. But we don't want to rush it. We don't want to go faster than we can go, and we don't want to go slower than we can go. And Krishna knows how fast we can go. So sometimes we're not aware of what we're capable of doing. Krishna is. So we have to put ourselves in Krishna's hands, and we have to have a spiritual master who's in touch with Krishna. See, there's Guru Tattva, there's Vishnu Tattva, there's Jiva Tattva. Jiva Tattva, the conditioned soul. Vishnu Tattva, the all-cognizant supreme being. And then there's Guru Tattva. Guru Tattva is the Jiva that's been empowered by Vishnu Tattva to speak. So Krishna speaks through Guru Tattva, and the Guru just says the right thing. You experience it sometimes on book distribution. You give somebody a book and you say, this book's really good for nurses with arthritis. She goes, my God, I'm a nurse. I've got arthritis. I'll take one of these, There's one devotee who was passing out books, and he's never said it before, and he's never said it again. He says, read this book. You'll never commit suicide. She took the book back. She read it. She came on the Sunday program that week. She said, I was just about to commit suicide. I read the book, and I realized it's not a good idea. She just saved my life. He's never said it before. He never said it again. So Guru Tattva is, you're speaking to people, and you just say something, and it's just what they need to hear because you're being used as a mouthpiece by Krishna. You're not aware of how it's going on, So you want to meet that Guru Tattva. You want an intimate relationship with him, and you want feedback. You want him to tell you, am I going astray? Am I qualified right now to understand what is Kunj? Is that way ahead of me right now? And then the spiritual master say, yeah, right now you just need to go and do some book distribution, or you need to peel a lot of carrots. You need to chop a lot. These girls have heard it. You need to chop a lot of carrots, and they've taken it seriously. See, they're so fixed, or whatever it is. And then you go on, and then you see him the next time, and then he says, that's very good. The carrots are good. I'm happy. You've not had a fall down in 3 years. Okay, I'm going to give you second. Get on the altar. Start realizing Krishna's a person. You have a relationship with him. And then bit by bit, Prabhupada gave us both. He gave deity worship, and he gave the book distribution as well. Both of them go on together. So if you don't have second initiation, the Gayatri mantra helps you to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. But Gayatri, you have to be in the mode of goodness. So you have to be following the principles quite strictly. Then you get the Gayatri that reinforces the chanting of Hare Krishna. Then you start to make rapid progress. And when you can go on the altar, here's a tip for you, right? You're chanting, it's really tough. Get second initiation and go and massage 500 shalagrams. We've got them just around here. We do it once a month. We've got plenty of oil. It'll take about 3 hours. Sit down, second initiation, massage the, well, we clean them with the shalagrams, then massage them in oil, then put them, we have a big bathing tray with all the shalagrams in, and then pick up your bead band the next day. And I guarantee your chanting will be really good. That's the benefit of doing some deity worship. They nourish and enhance each other. And then if you chant nice rounds, then you're aware. And the Singer Kavacha said there's just 2 things you need to know for deity worship: punctuality and treat the deity as a person. If you do those 2 things, then you'll be fine. Even if you make some mistake, it'll be by accident, Like there was one man, he was worshipping his deity, and he wanted the benediction of the deity. And he worshipped the deity for years. And he was doing everything, the puja, massage and oil, chamara, everything, flowers, nice offerings, everything. Nothing. No benediction fulfilled, nothing. So he goes to the deity one day, he's really angry, he said, listen, I've had enough of this puja stuff. I've been worshipping you like anything. I've been working my fingers to the bone, cutting the carrots every day, and nothing. I don't get anything back. I've not won the lottery. I haven't got a big car. My life's rubbish. I'm stopping the puja, and I'm putting beeswax up your nose. And the reason I'm putting beeswax up your nose is the next time I light some incense, you're not even getting a sniff. That night I had a dream, and the deity came and said, what benediction would you like me to fulfill? He said, I was so rude to you. I've been worshipping you so nicely. He said, yeah, because yesterday was the first time that you treated me like a person. So you can do all your fancy rituals and things, and it's nice, but the real thing is the bhav, what's going on in the heart. Are you treating the mantra as a person? Or is it just usually around 6 o'clock the phone starts going on. Are you treating the mantra as a person? Are you treating the deity as a person? If the deity is just stone, then it means your head is made out of stone, your heart is made out of stone. So the bhav, the mood that you're doing everything is more important than what you're doing. That's why in this endeavor there is no loss of diminution, not in the result, in the bhav, the disposition, the attitude is the most important thing. Confirmed. I get to do that after I've made a profound statement. Any other questions? Any other questions or comments? Treat the name as a person and treat the deity. And it's funny, isn't it? If you break down material attachment, Srila Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavad Gita, material attachment is made of negligence of rules and regulations, the conception of void, and the fear of a personal identity. You get those three, and you mix them together, and that's material attachment. That's what it is. That's what it's made up of. So if you don't neglect the rules and regulations, if you don't see things as void, you're always aware, trying to be aware that there's the hand of the Lord behind everything, and you're not afraid of being a person. Why would you be afraid of being a person? Because if you're a person, you're accountable. Prabhu, you're supposed to be there at this time. What happened? Spaced off. I forgot my watch. Why did you forget your watch? I couldn't be bothered. So when you're a person, you have to be there on time. You have to be accountable, responsible, and it's easier to be impersonal and just merge with the wall. Oh, I don't know. Don't ask me. That's impersonal. And being a personalist means, you're concerned about other people. You have relationships. You interact. You reciprocate. So if you're lazy, it's easier not to be a person. Just desensitize yourself to the environment with Facebook or media or heroin or something, and then disconnect from the surroundings, and then just be inside your head thinking about yourself and what you want and your desires, And we're trying to step outside of that and be persons again. Prabhu, are you okay? You look a bit down. Can I help you in some way? Or otherwise, we can become impersonal personalists. Quite possible. Any other questions or comments? Because the question I could ask then is, how do you treat the mantra as a person when you're chanting? How do you do that? Anyone like to share how they treat the Maha Mantra as a person? Or is that a new one? Has no one thought of trying that yet? Being attentive, yeah, being attentive, and when you're with a person, then you have to. It's like sometimes when you go to the pub, and not that we go to the pub, but for people that do go to the pub, and everyone's a bit drunk, and no one wants to hear what anyone else is saying. They're all just waiting to speak. So the conversation doesn't really follow on. You know, someone's talking about something, and then he says, "Yeah, I was out yesterday, and I saw this massive bird fly past, and I think it was an eagle actually." And then the other one says, "Oh, I was down the road the other day, and I think I saw an elephant." And then the other one comes and says, "My dog's just died," and no one's saying anything in relation to anybody else. So, if you're chanting Hare Krishna and you're not interested in what the mantra is trying to tell you, then you're just listening to yourself. The mantra's going on, but it's just all you. It's just all me, 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 me. So treating the mantra as a person means you're listening. Where's the mantra trying to tell me? Anyone experienced that? You've been experiencing some problem or some difficulty in your chanting, and as you're chanting, then it becomes clear. Oh yeah, okay. That's a good way to look at it. And it just kind of magically happens. So the mantra is speaking to you, how to change the way you're. If you're going to make an important decision, chant Hare Krishna first. If it's a really important decision, chant 64 rounds before you make the decision. And then you'll be really clear what you're going to do, you know. It's easy. All you do, you go to bed at 6, you get up at midnight, and you chant till 8 o'clock in the morning, 64 rounds. And then you go throughout the day. I do a Japa Sangha. Anyone can join if they like. We do a Japa Sangha on Thursdays between 7 and 8. I can give you the link. And one of them, she did about 50 rounds. And she said it was amazing. She said, because she was thinking it was going to waste, she was going to be so behind in everything she had to do. But after she'd done the 50 rounds, she was doing all these things that she's been putting off for weeks. Because there's just so much mental platform behind it that you never quite get it together. And after 50 rounds, there was no mental platform practically. So she was just like, bum, 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 bum. All these to-do lists, ticking them all off. So you can be much more efficient. It's like the man who he had a saw and he was there on the tree. And the guy came past and he goes, "What are you doing there?" And he goes, "I'm trying to saw this tree, can't you see?" And at the end of the day, 8 hours later, the guy comes back and he's there. And he's still there. And the saw is practically not even gone into the tree, still on the edge of the tree. And he said, "Why don't you sharpen the saw?" And the man said, "I've been here for 8 hours. I haven't got time to sharpen the saw. At this rate, I'm going to be here, for weeks. I haven't got time to stop and sharpen the saw." So he's like that, So there's so many things that we're doing with a blunt saw. And chanting Hare Krishna makes the saw really sharp. And then you can get through, you could do a whole forest in one day if you've got a sharp saw. So if you chant Hare Krishna, even if it's just a few extra rounds, one of the ways to please the holy name, who is a person, by the way, is to just chant some extra rounds, chant one extra round. And the holy name, we can improve just by increasing. So if we're chanting and we're in a bit of a rump, we don't seem to have really got very far in our chanting, the quality's not very good. Maybe we'd rate our japa at 4. We're thinking, if it stays at 4, I'm not going back this lifetime. So that's serious, because it should be up in the 8, 9s, and 10s, really, So we have to look at that and think, okay, well, one way I can improve is I'll just slightly increase. I'll just do that little bit extra, and that in itself is an improvement. And there's a certain amount of mantras. If you chant the certain amount of mantras, then just by sheer volume of mantras, you're guaranteed to reach a certain spiritual position. And the amount of mantras is only 1 billion. And 1 billion only takes 10 years if you chant 192 rounds a day, which is nothing really, is it, if you think about it? Because that's what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur did. He said, before I start the Gaudiya Mat, I'm going to chant 1 billion names. So he was just chanting. He chanted on the same beads that his father had chanted 1 billion names on as well. So it's 192 rounds. But if you're going to do 192, then you can't do 7.5 minute rounds. Because if you do, then you'll either starve to death or you'll die of lack of sleep. Because it takes 24 hours to chant 192 rounds at 7.5 minutes a round. So you'd have to chant 5-minute rounds. And then you got a chance to sleep a bit and eat a bit. If you're thinking of doing it. You're young, you can manage 1 billion. You'll be done. You'll be done before you're 20. And then you can go and start a Hare Krishna movement. Any quick questions or comments? Anything about how to chop carrots? Nice to have you all. So I hope we see more of you. Hope you enjoy your visit while you're here. get the fresh Scottish air in your lungs, and the water. You can get a lather. Have you noticed without water, you can get a lather. Whenever we go down south and we try and get a lather, when you're in the shower with the soap, you can't get a lather with the water. But the water up here is soft, so when you're in the shower, you can get a good lather, So just to have a good shower, you should come back to Scotland. ISKCON Guru in the key. Srila Prabhupada key. Go to Premanandi. Haribol. All of you key.